Flight Wings Aviation is an organization whose sole purpose is to inspire and equip the next generation of aviators. We achieve this by offering educational aviation seminars and tours to high school students. Our media channel, we provide our audience with relevant information on aviation filled through panel discussions, interviews with aviation professionals. We offer high school students the Junior Aviator course to broaden their understanding of aviation as well as increase their chances of getting into top aviation schools. We also offer Aviation Refresher and Advanced course on aviation topics. All our courses are carefully designed by aviation experts with international aviation qualifications in a wide range of aviation disciplines. The courses are designed to equip aviators with modern and relevant skills applicable in today's aviation world. Inspire, equip, empower, Flight Wings Aviation.
Hi everyone, greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time zone you are watching us from. Welcome to the Big Sky, a show where we get to explore the unlimited possibilities of aviation. And today we are on a Wednesday. Usually it's a Tuesday, but we fluctuate between Wednesday and Tuesday because we can. So I am quite excited as always every single week to be with you guys and everything. So thank you so much if you just tuned in. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe. Please do share with your friends. Tell them we are live. Flight Wings is live and we are ready for today's episode. Last week I was solo because of some various reason, but today I have my co-host back and I'm going to welcome her back. Michael, hi.
Hello, Isaac. How are you?
I'm good. I had so much fun last week, so I'm just gonna mention it. Like I just want to put it out there. I had so much fun, and we missed you last week, and I hope you had a good one wherever you were. And welcome
Yes,
back to the Big Sky again.
thanks. And I did see you were having a lot of fun having solo show. So don't worry, I'm here again. But yes, thank you. It was nice.
Yeah, awesome. So jumping right into our show for today. Today is a quite an important show, especially for you. You know, like for you. I think the audience will know obviously later on as we move. And today's guest is a very special guest, not only to all of us as Flight Wings Aviation, but to my co-host as well. And
Yes.
yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your guest before we bring her up?
I don't want to give on a lot, but people who saw our media places and all of that social media, they know that she's a professor. Okay, Professor Sanaz. She has been, and the reason I'm very excited today is because she's been my professor for almost 2 years. So I am very excited to have her here because she's amazing, and I want everyone to listen from her as well. So yeah.
Yes, awesome. But before I put her on the stream, there's going to be a question like always, or like we haven't been putting questions a lot, but today we have a question. So, if you're a viewer, just get ready, you know, because the question is going to come up. And today's gift is 50% promo code to our junior aviation course. And Michelle, do you want to remind people what we do? Inspire, equip, empower.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Again, people who are watching us from the beginning or who have joined us for the first time, Flightwings Aviation is an educational consultant company for aviation. Okay, we provide mentorship, we have our own courses, certificate. The reason Flight Wings Aviation exists is for students who want to pursue their dreams in aviation but don't know what kind of guidance, or are not getting the right guidance. They don't understand, okay, I want to be an aviator, but what career or what path or what degree should I choose? So, Flight Wings Aviation aims to help those students who are out there who love aviation but just don't know what to do. So, we are here to help you, and that is our main aim. That and the guests that come every day, every week, on Wednesday or Tuesday, they are here to show you that, see, there are people out there like us who also had sometimes difficult path and didn't know what to do as well, but now are excelling in the aviation industry.
Awesome. Yes, so we run by the mantra inspire, equip, and empower. So,
Exactly.
drum roll, Michelle, give us a drum roll as we
Okay.
welcome our next guest. This is episode 11, and this is the episode before season finale. So, yeah,
No,
it's been
2 episodes.
2 episodes.
We're,
Oh yeah,
this is 10. This is 10, I think.
no, it's 11.
Okay, it's 11. But we have two more guests. We have two more guests.
Awesome. Okay, let me welcome Dr. Sanaz Fadkar.
Yes.
How are you, Prof? Can I say Prof or Doc? Which
Sanas
one
is
should I
fine.
pick?
Sanas is fine.
Sanaz is fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
for inviting me. I'm proud of
It's
you guys.
it's
Oh,
such an honor to have you today on our show.
Honor is mine.
And yeah, so we just want to start diving into today's um, discussion. So,
Yeah.
like, can you give us a brief bio about you and tell us what you're currently doing as well? Just a brief bio
Okay.
about you.
As you have already mentioned, my name is Sanas Batanka, but Sanas is fine for me. So not professor, not doctor. That's fine. I have started my early career when I was like 19 years old, when I was dreaming about having some experience of flying, and then I was like, I'm gonna be a cabin crew one day. So I remember one day I was a high schooler, maybe last year of the high school. I was sitting in the yard with my friends, and we were like, guys, I'm gonna be a flight attendant one day. But I didn't know that it's gonna happen that early. When I became flight attendant, I was 20. So even now I feel like how brave I was to become a flight attendant just when I was 20. And then I started to study. I thought that I have to follow academically to become a flight attendant. So I just, because in of course in each country the rules might be different, but in my country, when you want to enter university, you have to get get over some several entrance exams. So I had to do so, finding a major field of study that I wish to pursue. There was something like hosting or hospitality or something like that. I thought that maybe it's gonna be something that I can use to become a cabin crew. So I chose that field of study. I started to study hospitality. But once I entered the university, I understood that it's tourism and hospitality with the focus on hotel management, not aviation and airlines. It didn't stop me. I just followed to see how I can become a cabin crew then. And then I noticed that to enter the airline industry in my country, I'm just talking about my country,
Can you name the
that
country
you
as well?
sorry?
Can you name your country as well?
Yeah, I'm from Iran, by the way. I'm from Iran. So in Iran, it's like this: you choose the airline, or you just apply for the airline for becoming a cabin crew. You just submit your application of interest becoming a cabin crew. They will just take you over a series of interviews and recruitment processes, and then once you just pass all those processes, then you enter the educational center of the airline. I believe this is the same case for majority of other airlines in different other countries, because each airline there they have their own level of standards and qualities to be met by the employees at different levels. So these educational centers are based at each airline company having their own educational processes. It might take like 1 year, 2 months, 6 months. And of course, once you become a flight attendant, then these educations will never stop because you, as you know, aviation industry is a dynamic industry. Becoming a cabin crew
Yes.
or cockpit crew member means that you need to have like ongoing training programs. The trainings never stop, and this is what they call it as a recurrent training programs. So I passed the interview, I entered the airline, I started my education again, this time with the airline itself. So they started to teach us the whole new world of the airline industry, which it was my first time ever I was hearing about them. And then after it was a 6 month of non-stop training and education, then we were certified to start flying. So of course, becoming a cabin crew is like having or receiving your driving license. So if you want to drive a car, like if you want to drive a truck, you have to have license for driving a truck. And if you want to drive a motorcycle, you need to have a driving license for a motorcycle. So this is the case for the airline industry as well. When you want to fly each type of aircraft within the same family or different families of aircraft, still you need your driving, let's say, license. So I
Right.
was licensed for several different types of aircraft, which I'm so happy to say it was Boeing 747 aircraft, Airbus 300, 310, 340. And it was very much enjoyable those days. And this was this is how my career started. But after 4 years of flying, I was like, I need more. So I just quitted my job and I started academically follow the industry. And then this is still a huge gap in the market to academically follow aviation industry, because we see a lot of industry experts been working for the industry and gathering information and expertise by working, not necessarily having academic approach to this item. So I started master and then PhD, and I started lecturing, and all these years I've been focused on airline and airport industry, um, from the publication point of view or from the lecturing point of view. I hope this biography was enough, but if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to answer.
Mm,
No, no, we have
mm.
you. You're with us for an hour, so you're stuck with us for a while. So obviously we're gonna ask so many questions, but thank you
Yes,
so much
but
for the bio.
no, it was a very good bio because the problem is in flight wings aviation, we have a lot of students who do come, but they don't know how to approach cabin crew career. And they don't know, like, for example, like you said, you were 20, and at 19, your mind was set. So that's like the right age. Usually, when I've seen like people who join cabin crew are like quite young, like they're in their like not even they haven't even finished their teenage years and they're already working towards it. So I guess it's the same everywhere. Coming back to your master's and PhD, you did your master's not in aviation, although when people listen to cabin crew, they assume that it is aviation. But even after being a cabin crew person, you move towards like tourism and
The
hospitality, and
issue is
then
that, yeah, look,
yeah,
Michelle, the issue is that when we say aviation, it depends on the perspective or the lens through which we're looking at the industry. Are we talking about aviation from a business perspective? Are we talking about aviation from more practical terms, which is more about safety, human factors, CRM, and these items? If we look at the aviation from the business perspective, the core business lies within the bigger scope of industry, which is called tourism. So we all know aviation
yes,
in general, but when we're talking about commercial aviation, which is it provides air transportation services, is a mean to facilitate tourism activities, right? So
exactly.
you can never separate air transportation from the tourism business. So they are highly interrelated. Even at this University of Bedfordshire, we are having, because we are having the focus of, we are having a business focus on the aviation industry. We have units or courses that we are offering which are have some overlap with tourism business. We are teaching students about tourism and travel behavior, because it means a lot when you're trying to open up your airline business. You're focusing your marketing activities. You have to have a good understanding of consumer behavior within this air transportation, let's say, sector. So they are always coming head by head. And in my opinion, air transportation, I'm not talking about general aviation, just commercial aviation, is a facilitator of the overall tourism industry. So for me, it really did help, because it improved my business focus on the airline industry, as my PhD was also focused on the airline business, which I
Yes.
tried to develop airline business models and to understand what criteria. Even the paper is published out there. You can just download and read it to see what factors are mainly affecting the development of airline business model, specifically for low cost carriers within the regions where there is no such a business model available. So that is why I did my master and bachelor in tourism and PhD in marketing. In all cases, it was all focused on aviation.
Yes, that's true. That's the thing. You're right that people don't actually associate tourism and aviation in the same field. Although, if we talk about commercial, it's exactly the same. We study about it in aviation as well, that we're focusing on tourism and passenger satisfaction and all that. But when it comes to the degree or the studies, we associate tourism and hospitality completely different from aviation. I agree on that.
And still in the
So,
aviation industry, still for airline businesses on board the aircraft, what we are offering is air transportation hospitality services. When you are asking cabin crew to wear a smile all the time, to be helpful, to be friendly, it is just the essence of hospitality industry. You
yes.
can never say it is different. They are just the same. We are offering hospitality services on board the aircraft.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today's session is very much academic, isn't it?
Yes, and we really hope that who are watching do understand, because
There
that's
are
why
a
we
lot
brought
of
you here.
keywords.
That's
What
why.
is hospitality? What is aviation? What is commercial? What? So for the ones, in my opinion, the ones who really want to pursue a dream within the aviation industry, they need to study, they need to search, and they need to get themselves used to and know about all these keywords. So we keep using the keywords ahead, and this is the responsibility of the others who love to know more. So just
True.
we give the responsibility to them to we will let them know more.
True. Yes.
Yeah, today we're gonna learn a lot. I believe so as well. But then I want you to shed more light on your journey from like how you became a flight attendant. Like you mentioned about how you were thinking about it at 19, but I want you to be more clear about it. Like if someone is listening right now, from when you were 19 and how the educational journey happened for you to become a flight attendant.
This is what I'm telling you. My education really didn't help me to become a cabin crew. It was other, in my opinion, non-technical skills I had which helped me to
Mm,
enter the industry, because they had their own education. So you will probably, it would help for the people who are having some degrees in aviation. It means that this is the concern that we already have nowadays, saying that do we really offer what the industry is needing from us? If we can close such a gap, we can expect our graduates to be employed more easily than ever before. But when I'm talking about myself, like 15 years ago, it was not like this. And when I finished my studies, like the undergraduate studies, it was actually first, it was a 2 year program, and then I tried to enter the industry. I noticed that probably it helped because I had some knowledge of hospitality and tourism industry, so probably it helped, but it was not the only determining factor. As I told you, for example, in Iran, we really needed somebody who could speak English. because
Hmm.
you were supposed
Yes.
to fly to different international destinations. So English was a necessary item. But if you had knowledge of additional languages, it was an extra point. But if you knew English and you knew, for example, French, still you were the priority on the priority list than the one who knew French, because English is definitely an international language. So as I say, there are different factors affecting the possibility that you get accepted. But what is important is just to know to be updated and alerted about the calls for recruitment. As I know, a lot of different airlines keep calling for new employment opportunities. People, they can just register and just submit their CVs. Unfortunately, people, they don't even know how to search for it. As I understand, they don't understand
Yes.
what requirements are required by the airline.
Yes.
Just that's why online, even, they just at the very initial phase, they get rejected because their documents does not meet the criteria. Like the photo, for example, is not appropriate, the CV is not appropriate in all cases. If I want to get back to my own case, I believe that there were several, a combination, let's say, of different factors that could help me to enter the industry. But entering the industry, for me, it was like a dream come true, because I was only 20. I just entered the industry and I was like, oh my god, it's my dream job. And really, those days was one of the best days of my entire life so far, even, because I could fly to different destinations at the same time. I could earn good money, I could travel, I could gather experience. So it was interesting for me. I was really enjoying what I was doing. But the case is that when you grow older and you start shaping or making family, it may a very important factor that you start facing would be work family conflict, which makes it difficult for you to balance your work life with your personal life. So for many, in my opinion, many cabin crew who are showing some level of turnover intention or actual turnover behavior is due to the fact that they cannot balance or manage such a conflict. So for me, it was very much enjoyable. It was fantastic.
Sorry about that. I didn't even know I was muted. I feel like I'm sitting in a seminar, professor, with you, and I am really enjoying, and I forget that this is a talk show. I'm just enjoying what you're saying, really. So coming back to your flight attendant career, you worked in Mahan Air, right, for 4 years. So tell us about that airline. It's your country's. Is it your country's main airline?
Oh no, for in Iran we have a flagship which is called Iran Air. So
Okay.
in Iran, all the airlines are full service network carriers. We do not have any low cost carriers.
Yes.
Mahaner is one of those who are excelling at the services that they're offering. So if we put Iran Air aside as a public airline which is owned by the government, Mahaner is the largest, most successful private airline company in Iran. So
Wow.
which is flying to many destinations. It has quite a lot of different fleet of aircraft. It has a lot of different international and domestic destinations to fly. So yeah, this is quite a good airline. And those days, everybody wanted to become a Mohan Air cabin crew. So I had the advantage of being one of them.
Of course, like as a 20-year-old working for a very good airline is like a dream come true. I mean, if I get a job from Qatar Airlines, I will say, okay, guys, bye.
This
I'm
is the
going right.
issue. Those days, I really wanted to promote myself by joining Emirates or Qatar Airlines,
Yes.
or even Etihad. Etihad. I remember they were keep announcing to recruit some Iranian cabin crew. But for
Hmm.
myself, at the early stages of my career life, it was for me even difficult to search for those requirements. That's why I say some people, they don't know how to prepare their profile to apply for the job. So for myself, it was the same case. I was not now that I have a couple of different skills to for making researching and this and that. Now I understand that those days I really needed someone to help me searching for the job and to prepare the portfolio necessary for the job application. So of course, being a cabin crew for Emirates is more enjoyable and rewarding in terms of destinations that you will fly, because the job itself, it's not an easy job. This is the
No, of course
problem.
not.
People, they have a, how can I say, they have
A
an
misconception.
imagination about the aviation industry or airline business, which is more a lucrative type of a business. People, they fly, they're going on trip, they're making good money. Oh my God, it's very much luxury, but they
Yes.
have no idea about the behind the scene of the actual day-to-day life. So this is the issue when students, they come to school, they come to the class, and they start to know about this all these behind the scene facts. They suddenly start to think if this is really the industry that they really want to join. So, in my opinion, educational institutes are doing a important job just to elaborate what is going on behind the scene. Because being a cabin crew means you're always fatigued. You remember I gave you some
Yes. Oh my God,
how
yes.
I was fatigued. I was about to punch on a face, and
Yes.
it's difficult really. Become a cabin crew flying nonstop to different destinations. It's really difficult. It's not an easy job, and especially when you try to balance your personal life with your work life, as I said. So it requires a bunch of, as I said, different skills if you really want to be successful, because in the airline industry we have different jobs. They're either called on the ground or on board.
On
The
board,
on board
yes.
aspect, becoming a cabin crew or cockpit crew member, is the most difficult aspect of the job. You're just risking your life because it's a high risk industry, right? So you're
Yes.
risking your life at the same time. Your life is due to, let's say, schedules and shift works. Your life is being affected, your sleep pattern. So majority of different let's say heart diseases and this this word is difficult.
Chronological, I think it's that's.
Something like that.
Chronic
Yeah.
diseases. Chronic
Yeah.
diseases.
Chronic. Thank you, Isaac.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for correcting. This type of diseases, let's say, are very much prevalent among cabin crew and cockpit crew members due to all these night shift, like long night shifts. Even though the flight starts at 9 o'clock, still you have to wake up 3 or 4 in the morning. And I was doing it like for 4 years, waking up
Yes.
2 or 3 in the morning, or getting back home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, I remember you used to tell me that sometimes the flight used to literally just go and then you used to have a next flight and you used to come back home as well. I remember you mentioning this as
This
well.
is like this, yeah, of course. For the domestic flights, usually it's like this. One flight is called a flight leg, right? So
Yes.
each flight leg, depending on the flight hour, you're supposed to, in one day we were just making 4 flight legs, just going and coming back again. So 4 flight legs a day is just a nightmare, because each flight leg was only 45 minutes or 1 hour, but still facing demanding passenger on board the aircraft.
Of course.
45 or 1 hour flight time, it's just a nightmare. But when it gets, I mean, when the time passes, it gets easier. But I wanted to say something about the dynamics of becoming cabin crew between the two airline business models. Um, that lucrative aspect of becoming a cabin crew can come true only when you're joining a full service network carrier. For the ones who are trying to pursue a cabin crew job, let me tell you, if you become a cabin crew for a low cost carrier, none of them can be available. So low cost carriers, majority of low cost carriers are just there are no layover, or let's say they are just flying legs of flight or four flight legs per day, going and coming like this. So you will not be laid over in destinations, enjoying, because sometime for myself, the driving reason why I wanted to become a cabin crew was to fly and to travel.
Of course.
This is not the case for the low cost carriers. So, cabin crew,
Yes,
people who want to become cabin crew, if you are just choosing becoming a cabin crew to enjoy traveling, do not choose low cost carriers. It's better just to choose full service network
full
carriers,
service one. Right.
the ones who are operating on hub and spoke
Hmm.
networks.
Interesting. You're mentioning something about how it's challenging. It's not all rosy to become a flight attendant.
Very
I'm wondering what skills are primary if someone wants to become a flight attendant. What skills are essential for one to have if they want to become a flight attendant?
Yeah, of course. Skills, communication skills. First of all, in my opinion, communication skills, the extent to which you can communicate with people. People who are not open to communication are not good people or not good choices for such a job. And then teamwork, being able to act as a team member. If you're not good at becoming a team member, please do not become a flight attendant, because you're going to make the others' job more difficult on board the aircraft, because it's just like a imagine an air a imagine a car having four wheels. So all the four wheels must work all together. If one wheel is not turning around like correctly, it means that
Of
the
course.
pressure will be on the three remaining wheels, and at the same time still the car is just moving unbalanced. So this is the case for all the jobs which are having some teamwork characteristics. So if you're not a team person, please do not become a cabin crew. Then the people who are good at problem solving, because there might be a lot of different conditions and situations due to the fact that you always face different faces, passengers,
Yes.
each of them having their own um, demand, questions, requests. Sometimes they surprise you of what they're asking you on board, and this is the case. We all know that there are some people who are afraid of flight or afraid of
Yes.
flying, right? So they are being under stress from the very first beginning stage of their travel until the aircraft touches down at the destination. So all this pressure and stress is actually will be imposed on the cabin crew once the doors are being closed. So such people, they have no other resources but the cabin crew, just to pressure them with all the fear and all the uncomfortable feelings which they have because of the fear of flight. So you will see a lot of such people. They keep shouting, asking, requesting, keeping requesting. They just keep buzzing the button, and of course, depending on the type of a destination and the characteristics of passengers, the level of difficulty can be different. I can say Iranian passenger are among most difficult categories because they're highly demanding. So um, this is how it makes life difficult.
So, do you remember, like,
Sorry.
do you remember an experience of yourself, or maybe like your colleague, like where once you went beyond and above for like customer satisfaction? Like,
Yeah,
do
of
you remember
course.
any?
This is another skill that you say we were talking about the main skills, right? I said the communication, teamwork, problem solving, and then
Yes.
decision making, for example, as I said, these are main skills that you really require: willingness to participate in service delivery. So when you're willing and have the motivation to serve people, we have this category of employees that are called service oriented people. So such service orientation can be spotted at the employment phase. So airlines, the managers that are highly recommended to design their, let's say, recruitment process in a way that they can spot people with such characteristics, the people who are willing to participate in service delivery. They want to, they are highly motivated to serve people. Sorry. So if you have such people, then these are the ones who are going above and beyond their role prescriptions just to satisfy the needs of the customers. I myself, I was one of them. So I could help people as much as I could do, and people were surprised. Like, even especially when we had old people on board the aircraft, I could help them. I was the one who was always engaging to help passengers changing their seats, because we have this requirement all the time.
Right.
They're requesting to, oh,
Yes.
can I have my seat changed? Can I change? Many of my colleagues, I could see, they just easily ignore, saying that no, it's not possible. That's it. It was the risks. But I was like, let me see. I can help you. Let me try myself to help you. So, of course, there are a lot of different factors affecting the level of such willingness. But personality, in my opinion, is one of those personal
True.
characteristics of people.
Yes.
Or for my colleagues, I can remember, yeah, we had many colleagues who were also wanted to do such a thing, like helping people, like making, giving explanations. Majority of people, because look, this is the case. Sometimes, when you go on board the aircraft as a passenger, it might be your first time ever, right? So you might have a lot of questions
True.
and concerns. But for the cabin crew, it might be the thousandth time that he or she is doing the same routine job. So for them,
Right.
sometimes
Yes.
it is a bit like, oh my God, again, this question again, this falsified information again. For example, people, some of them are reluctant to put their baggages on in the hat racks, the compartments above them, right?
Yes, the compartments at the
Yeah,
top.
they are reluctant due to several reasons, but it has safety concerns. We are asking them due to safety issues, not personal issues. So some people, they were like, you should put your baggage or your luggage in the hat rack, otherwise you will be I don't know, discharged from the flight and this and that. But I was the one who was explaining, because I was like, if I'm the one who is being asked to put a bag or luggage in the compartment, which I don't know why, I am entitled to receive explanation. So this is what actually can be done to satisfy passengers who are really lost sometimes. To give, like, they ask why we should close or keep the window blinds open while the flight is taking off or landing, why we should put our luggage in the compartments and this and that. These are not to tease the passenger, of course. These are all having safety implications for the
Of
flight.
course.
Okay. So on that note as well, like, have you ever reached a situation where you are in disagreement with the passenger
A lot, a lot,
and
a
yeah,
lot,
and then how did you
actually.
deal with the situation? Let's say a passenger was refusing to buckle up their seatbelt. Like, how will you deal with that when someone is very
I would try to explain the consequences. And I myself,
Oh,
as a person, I was very much strict on the instruction I was giving to the passengers. So when you go on board the aircraft, each cabin crew is will be responsible for a zone in the aircraft. The aircraft is divided
yes.
into different zones, right? Cabins or zones.
Yes.
So each cabin crew, my zone always was the most quiet one. Everybody was very much disciplined and like, Oh, yes, you should see. They knew because I was giving the instructions. Sometimes it was spiced up with a bit of joking and just laughing to reduce the stress level. And that's why I say I was really enjoying my job, because I could guide people at the same time. So I could make them feel comfortable, make them feel happy, make them laugh, make them stay in their seats. And of course there are always some, let's say, aggressive passengers that you may face. So I had once or twice or even more maybe being faced by such aggressive passengers. But still, you know what, in Iran we have something which is called flight guard. So these people are the ones who are flying with us on board the aircraft, even though they you cannot recognize them when you enter, because they're having their personal outfit like the normal passenger. They just come in, we know them, but the passengers do not know them. So, but the passengers, they all know that we have such a flight guard, that they are carrying their weapons and everything, and they're very much well trained um, to treat aggressive passengers. So, in Iran, actually, specifically in our case, uh, people were very much scared of those, let's say, flight guards. So they were very much disciplined. They were not violating
Mm,
safety issues, because they knew at the end of the day they have to face such treatment.
of course.
They were helping us.
So I always enjoy your cabin crew stories because it's so fascinating to listen from the other
I
side.
can give you a
Like,
joke. I can give you a joke. One day
yes, please.
I was in a group of family members. Still, when I remember it, I laugh. I was giving some examples of what happened and what was our reactions. And of course, those days, even my stories and my memories was more fresh. And one one of those people with us in the group, she said she suddenly got excited and she said, did you have ever this experience that people were asking you to give them pillow? I said, yes, of course, every time. Is it a question to be asked now? I
Yes.
was like, are you serious? Of course they were asking for pillow and blankets all the time. It's normal. But I was talking about some more serious, like once there was an aggressive passenger. He was drunk and he tried to open the door. He was attempting to open the door on board the aircraft, and
Oh,
he was knocked down by these flight guards, as I tell you. And he was locked, yeah, at
oh
the
my God.
nose of the aircraft. And until we touched down, first the first one who was disembarked from the aircraft was him by the police officers. So I was talking about these unusual aspect of the job, and suddenly
Yes.
he asked, have you ever been asked from somebody who asked you to give the pillow? I said, yes, of course, 1,000 times. They were always asking for pillow and
That's
blankets.
the first things that the passenger asks: a pillow and a blanket. Do you have a
Yes,
blanket? Do
I
you have a pillow?
myself, when the flight is more than 2 hours, the first thing comes to my mind, may I have a pillow, please? It's usually there, it's always there.
What about
Yes.
when people don't want to like return things like maybe the pillows and these small things that people get from the plane
We
like
have
do
a
you have
tolerance for that. Satisfaction of the passenger worth a lot more than a pillow being taken from the aircraft. So depending on the policy of the airline itself, for us, in our case, we had such a tolerance. They could still take blanket or pillow with them.
Blankets and pillows.
yeah
Yes, we didn't have tolerance
I
for
took I
people
took
who were
I
sleeping
always
without
take
jackets.
I always take things from the airline anyway, so yeah,
Sorry?
secret is
Oh
out.
my God.
I said I always take things from the airplane all the time, so yeah.
It's okay. You know what? It has some marketing implications, by the way. When you use a blanket which is marked Emirates and you use it wherever you go. probably you go to, I don't know, for example, let's say you're
The
using that
beach.
one as a sheet when you go to the beach, for example. So you're just acting as a walking billboard. Why not? So such airline
Oh,
businesses, they
wow.
should be wise enough to have level of tolerance for things to be taken from the aircraft by the passenger, hoping that this will have marketing implications, like the bottles you're taking, the small plates if you're taking there when they're having all the logos on it. So why not? You can take it. Feel free just to take everything you want. As long as you're not taking the life jackets, as I said, because the life jackets are under the seats. So these are
Yes.
really having, how can I say, they cost a lot. Each airline, imagine if all the passengers at each flight, they just commit taking the life jacket, just putting in their bags and take it with them, which would never be used in any case. So it costs a lot. We had almost zero tolerance for life jackets, but for the rest, yeah, they could take it.
I did not even know that there were life jackets.
Oh my God,
And
please do not take it now that you know it, okay?
Oh
I
my
can see
God.
your face is taking things from
I'm
you.
like, I'm not so sure right now, but thank you for the heads up.
It's not gonna help you. Just don't take it, okay?
Yeah, but I understand what you mean, and I understand the logic as well. Yeah, like, that's interesting.
Yes.
Um,
So,
yes, Michelle, go ahead.
I yeah, I want to move to like the academic part of your career. I've read so many research papers because of you, and I've read so many research papers from you as well.
You were
So
always
I
good
want to
at
talk
reading,
about
I
the
know.
Yes, I loved reading, and I have never read so many research papers except your courses, Professor. So I I wanted to ask about your recent one, which was the title was "Does Safety Motivation Mediate the Effect of Psychological Contract of Safety on Flight Attendants' Safely Performance Outcomes?" So can you like briefly tell us like what it's about?
Yeah,
Well,
of
it
course. You
does
see,
tell us,
this,
but can you
as
like
the topic
briefly?
says, or as the title says, there are many different items included in the research. The first one is the psychological contract of safety. According to this construct, which is an emerging construct, it says that safe, because let me give another a few introduction. When we are talking about air transportation, we say that the core product is a safe transportation of people from point A to point B, regardless of the reason why they're flying. It can be either business, VFR, or whatsoever. What we need them is to make sure that they're having a safe transportation, so they're safe at their destination, right? So we need to make sure that people on board the aircraft are good and excellent at their safety performance, okay? So that the safety is not violated
Yes.
at all. So safety contract, I mean psychological contract of safety actually believes that there is a psychological contract between employees and the employers, like the cabin crew and the managers who are running the airline, that if you, as a manager, are showing commitment and concern for safety issues, then the employees will also show levels of safety um, as an exchange to what they believe that okay, you're doing, so you're, it's just like a marriage. Imagine yourself marrying with some other people. You will be committed to their relationship until you believe that the other party is also committed to the
They are
relationship.
committed also. Yes.
So this is the same case for safety. People, employees, they have such a perception in their minds that we will commit safety and we will have commitment to safety unless we believe, until we make sure that the other party is also committed. So they are providing us, for example, with adequate services, with adequate training, adequate facilities, or let's say devices for safety, this and that. So from the academic perspective, we believe that this has some implications on safety performance, okay? safety performance can take different forms. In this study, actually, I tried to understand two different aspects of safety performance. The first one was a creative safety performance, even though some believe that we do not need creativity for safety because we have SOPs, like standard operating procedures. They will tell us and
Right.
prescribe what we should do in the safety situation. But still, I believe that we need creativity because when you're on board the aircraft, you're bound to your onboard limited equipment. So when there is a whole new issue happening, it needs or it drags your creation or creative thought to solve the problem in a way that it helps all the people and it does not provide safety issues. Okay, so in this case I believe that creative safety performance is very much important and we need to know how we can improve such a performance among cabin crew. And then there is another construct in the study, as you could see, probably you studied. It's the violation of safety rules and regulations. Sometimes
Yes.
people, crew members and employees general, they engage in destructive behavior which acts against the organization. In more general, they're called counterproductive work behavior or deviant behavior or organizational deviance. Still, in my opinion, uh, we can have some level of tolerance until such destructive behavior does not have human life implications or lead to fatalities. But in the case of the airline industry, when the safety issues are being violated, there is a alarm to be ringed, to just attract the attention of the managers. Look, there is safety issues being violated. It's not a service factor, it's a safety that is being violated. For example, a cabin crew who intentionally does not check, for example, let's say the pressure of the oxygen mask to be in the green area because he or she believes that um, this airline does not care about safety, why I should care? Or this airline is not
True.
paying well, why I
Yes.
should care about the safety of its passenger? I wish this passenger die because I'm not earning the money that I deserve. So they start to show destructive behavior. So safety violation is among those destructive behavior which should be avoided. So according to this study, I showed that by having psychological contract of safety, understanding that both parties are committed to safety issues, people are motivated to show safety related behavior. That's why it is called safety motivation, because we believe that in human behavior sometimes we have some attitudes and these attitudes are guiding our behavior.
Is there a problem from her side, I think?
Yeah, I think it froze a little bit. Am I seeing the
Okay.
same thing?
While we
Okay.
wait for her, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
While we wait for her,
uh,
we can have the question for today.
yes, exactly. That's where I was going. Okay, so today's question weighs 50% of the JAC, Junior Aviation course. The one who gets the answer correct gets 50% off from our Junior Aviation course. So the question is, Marchan Air is an airline based in which city and country? Marchan Air is an airline based in which city and country? And the clue to this question would be no clue, because this question becomes so easy. I feel like it's so easy. So no, no, no. But let's say it's an Asian. Let's say it's part of Asia, I guess. So, yes. So the question is, Machan Air is an airline based in which city and country? And first person to get the answer correct gets the 50% promo code to our JAC course. And Michelle, tell us what's in this JAC course. Like if people
So
wondering.
JAC is the Junior Aviation course, and we have in that Junior Aviation certificate, sorry, not course, Junior Aviation certificate. In that certificate, we offer 5 courses, which are known as the introductory aviation courses. Like for people who want to proceed into undergrad, and they need like like a little bit of, what do you say, touch up to their aviation knowledge, the basic aviation knowledge that we have. So JAC, Junior Aviation Certificate, that's the aim of that certificate. And if you do that, then if you are joining the aviation faculty, or let's say, for example, tourism or hospitality connected to aviation, then you'll know the terms, the basic terms about aviation. You'll know the basic introduction about aviation in those courses. So that's what JAC aims to give to the students who buy it. And we really urge people who are like new to this industry, who are new to this what do you say, education side. It's a good certificate. It'll give you a very nice introduction to the aviation side. It's not very difficult. It's made by our experts, our team experts, and we've put a lot of effort in it to make it as simple and as creative as we could for you guys. So that's the main aim of that. We also have a risk management course, which is a separate thing. It's not a part of the JAC, but risk management is also something, risk management in aviation, we also offer that. So that's the main thing about JAC. And again, people who are joining us, uh, please follow us on our social media and everything. Oh, she's here. Great. She's here.
Sorry, I have a
Awesome.
connection problem, I guess.
Nah, it's all right.
It's okay.
It happens once a
Okay.
month, so it was your time.
Okay.
Yes, I
So
interrupted you.
Isaac,
Sorry.
Yeah, she was just mentioning our junior
we're
aviation
just
course that we're
yeah, we were
offering.
just
So
talking about our junior aviation certificate that we offer. It's like an introduction to aviation. So people who don't know anything about aviation but want to study like for undergrad. So it's like we we have put 5 courses together in one certificate, and we offer them, like, let's say, like, the basic terms that you said, like you said, that terminology that is important for people to know and stuff like that. So that's what our junior aviation certificate offers. So
yeah.
moving on to Isaac now.
Now we already have an answer also from the person already. Someone has already answered
Oh,
it,
okay.
and I wanted to ask if this is a correct pronunciation as well from Sanaz. Like
Professor. Yes.
Sanaz, yes. The question was, Meshan Air is an airline based in which city and country?
It's not Machan, it's Mahan. Mahan.
Mohan.
Mahan.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
It's
bad.
Mahan. It's Mahan. So the
Ah,
A is
AN.
C.
Mohan. So
Yeah.
obviously the guess to the question would be from Professor Sanar's country, obviously, and one of our audience answered it correctly, and it's Elijah
It's
Mandimika.
Tehran, Iran. Yeah.
Yes. So
Nice.
our 50% promo code goes to Elijah.
Congratulations, Elijah. You get the promo code for this week.
Yes. So
Okay, yeah.
yes. So as we wrap up the show, as we draw closer to the end, one of the papers that you were really like one of the papers that you were writing on was based on how psychological behaviors affect the cabin crew. And from a health perspective, you mentioned how things like times, like, is that not time zones, but sleeping cycles and all of these things, they can affect you psychologically. Let's just briefly talk about that. How the mental
Actually,
health. I think this is the mental
yes,
health now.
Yeah, it's not actually affecting the psychological aspect, but your actual behavior. Because once you're feeling fatigue, you're fatigued or jet lagged, your mind is not working appropriately. And this is more the case for the cockpit crew members. So when you become a pilot, you're highly stressed due to your working condition. And there are a lot of papers being published about the psychological aspect of being a pilot, and you see how life is difficult for these people being demanded as a pilot on board the aircraft. Then they start to go at home, they are being demanded as a husband and then demanded as a father. So
Hmm.
there's hugely a demanding type of a job. So it is coupled by not sleeping well, not having appropriate enough oxygen just being circulated within your body. Then you're feeling high levels of stress, emotional anxiety, exhaustion, burnout. These are the dark side of working for the airline industry, having highly, let's say, how can I say, if a scheduling or a shift work which is having non-convenience schedule. Sometimes you're working shift work, but still the schedule is convenient and you have some sort of, let's say, freedom to change your schedule, your shift schedule. But for the cabin crew, for or cockpit crew, this is not the case. So life is a bit difficult from this perspective. If we say when you're not sleeping well, so all your decision making skills, your communication
Of
skills, even
course.
they will
Yes.
be questioned, they will be affected. This is a place where you cannot think, and then what you can do is just to either you go start crying in the upper deck, which I did once. I was
Yes,
hiding
yes, I remember. I can never forget this story.
Yeah, the passenger kept asking, "I want Coke." I was like, "We are not a supermarket. The Coke is finished." And he started shouting and shouting, and I was like, "Oh my God, I could not handle the situation." Even though it seemed very much simple. Okay, he wanted a Coke, and we ran out of a Coke. That's it. But when the case is when you're fatigued and you cannot think and you cannot communicate and you cannot explain the situation, you may have different reactions. So for my reaction was like, okay, thank you. I didn't respond anything. I went to the upper deck directly and started to cry. And the flight person came and said, Sanaz, what is wrong? I said, this guy, he wants Coke. I cannot give him Coke. He said, okay, just tell him we don't have a Coke. So life is difficult when you are facing these issues. It
Right.
affects all the
Uh,
aspects of your entire life.
wow. This story I will never forget. Never. It's been like, I think almost like more than a year or a year and a half. I heard this story, and I can never forget this story. It's so funny to me. Like when you told us the first time, I was so fascinated by it.
Yeah.
So, in the aviation industry, flight attendants is like one of the careers in aviation where women are like really
Mm.
excelling, and they're making their place and everything. But even after that, do you still feel, or have you ever felt like a gender discrimination there? And do you still feel like there are like fewer women who join the aviation industry?
In my opinion, except for cabin crew position, the rest of industry
Yes.
is highly dominated by male comparing to female
Hmm.
employees.
Right.
So if even there is a rising concern saying that why not, even there was a presentation a few weeks ago. I was using an example of Ryanair showing the percentage of the number of cabin crew members and pilots based on gender, and you could see cabin crew gender wise female are dominating, while
Right.
slightly dominating, let's say. But for the cockpit crew member, there was a huge difference. The hit majority, like 5% only female, and 95 was
Wow.
dominated by male. And they was like, we are open to have applications from female um, pilots. So why not having female pilots, or not having more female engineers working for the maintenance department or ATC? Why not having more female employees? Unfortunately, in my opinion, except for the cabin crew department, the rest is dominated by male employees.
Right. Um, Moving towards like our last question before Isaac comes to his last question, I have a question. So, um, like most aspiring aviators, they manage to get cabin crew license, but then they fail to secure like a job that might be the. So, what might be the reason for that, and what advice would you give them that will help aspiring flight attendants not to be in that situation, like after getting their license?
As I said before, having the license does not secure the job. It facilitates the process. It may it may
Okay,
put them um, in some steps up in the list because they have
right.
some knowledge. But it doesn't mean that because they have the license they will find a job. They should find the job first of all by finding the announcement for the job positions, for the job offers, and
Right.
then to make sure that they're matching with the requirements. Airline companies, they are very much clear about what they really require, and once they have all the portfolio prepared for the submission, then they can submit. They should make sure that they're submitting for the right position at the right time, having appropriate documents ready, and then they can just easily get the job, in my opinion. And
So
cabin crew
basically,
job
like you
is not
said
a lifetime
earlier,
job.
yeah. So like for example, like you said earlier as well. So like how your like CV or how your profile should be according to where you're applying, right? That's the main focus. That's how you
Exactly.
actually do get a job, right?
Exactly.
So that's helpful for people who are listening to us
Sure.
who really
Yeah.
want to
They
join
should go
cabin crew.
online. They should start search for the job opportunities or job vacancies under each
Yes,
airline that they prefer to fly with or to work for. And then
right,
under the job vacancy, they should go to the job descriptions and requirements to see what they are expected to do and what they are asked to provide. And then they should make sure that they're following all these submission deadlines, and if there are interview deadlines and everything, and just be ready and work according to what is being required, then they can secure their job, in my opinion.
right. That's true.
Okay. So maybe this is the final question. And I believe you had answered it somehow when we spoke about how maybe people think
Yes,
flight attendants has to lean into the lucrative side of traveling and all of these things. And then you mentioned as well the downside of flight attendants and all of these things. And now my my plea to you right now is, what would you say to someone who's young right now, who's trying to make a decision of their lifetime on what to do in terms of career, and accidentally or somehow they're thinking about being a flight attendant or anything to do with aviation? What kind of advice will you give
Okay.
a younger self? You, for some reason, it feels like everyone on the show is always young when they make these decisions. I'm like, when I was 19, I don't know what I was thinking about. But everybody seems as if aviation calls people when they're younger. I don't know how that works, but maybe this could be a thesis to someone at some point. But I'm asking if there's anything you could say to a young individual who's watching, because our aim is always to reach out the young individuals. Like those who are watching, any advice we have in terms of flight attendants or aviation as a whole.
For this young generation, I would say that, of course, becoming a flight attendant, it can be a very good starting point but it's not a lifelong job. As
Right.
how much money you are earning sometimes does not compensate for how much you're risking or how much difficulty you're facing, especially when you're comparing what you're earning instead of, I mean, as with what you do with those of your colleagues who are in the cockpit, and they are just guiding the aircraft. Of course, there is a huge more responsibility and stress on the shoulders of the cockpit crew member, but still, they will be compensated with the highest amount of money in terms of their salary. So it's a good starting point to enter, but if you really pursue a lifelong job, in my opinion, you can just move onward to become a a cockpit crew member. Like, just as I said, Ryanair said, especially for those ladies out there, you can become a pilot in the future, starting by cabin crew, having some information and idea of the behind the scenes situation, and then proceed with the pilot career and become a pilot. But as I have said always, flying like cabin crew and cockpit crew member is not the only job that they can pursue in the aviation industry. So a quick
Yes.
review of the overall value chain, you can see that I'm staying somewhere within this value chain from the academic perspective. You're staying in the other side of value chain, almost in the same side with me by education, training, and consultation. So always there are a lot of thousands of different opportunities that you can pursue within the aviation industry. You can work as a partner to the airline. You can open up your leasing company. You can open up your catering company, or you can study some sort of aeronautical engineering and then become mm, engineers, either working for the manufacturer companies or the airline company itself, or at the airport. Even at the airport, there are thousands of different jobs available. um, in terms of ground handling, there are a lot of these ground handling private companies who are making a lot of good money. So, because at the end of the day, the job should be satisfying our financial needs, right? So
Of
we all
course.
need a
Of
job
course.
that can secure our futures in terms of life expenses. So people, they should be very much vigilant and very much updated, in my opinion, in terms of how the industry is growing, where it is heading to. And let me just tell you something: some people, they have such resistance to start working in the aviation, saying that we've been heated by the pandemic. God knows if we are going to be heated again. This is not the case. The industry will bounce back very soon, opening a lot of more other job opportunities, and having, I mean, these practitioners and industry is having a more positive perspective on young, fresh talents and graduates. So having some sort of certificate or education would definitely help these people to find or secure job in the aviation industry over the whole value chain.
Oh, thank you so much for such advice. And a quick question: are we gonna see you at some point being a pilot? Maybe.
I once had a dream, really. I just, when I was in Cyprus, I was like, okay, it's a quiet place, and I can continue lecturing at the same times, continue with the my pilot studies. I was planning to do so, but at the moment, no, I don't think so. I'm done with the stress. I want a very stress-free life. So not probably. I'm not continuing with the pilot position. But if I get back, like the years I was 18 or 19, probably after a few years of cabin crew position, I would definitely proceed with the pilot
Yeah.
career.
Awesome.
Oh,
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanaz. It was amazing having you. We learned a lot today, and Thank you so much to our viewers. And Michelle, I'll give you one last one because this is your favorite professor. I'll give you this one. You close for us today. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Professor. It was amazing hearing from you again. And maybe when I go for my master's, I will find a university where you're teaching so I can be your
You can
student
always
again. It
find
was
me at
amazing.
University of Bedfordshire. You can find me
Great.
here.
I will I will follow you then. But thank you so much. I know you have traveled to the UK and it was difficult for us to communicate. But thank you for taking out the time to support us in this. And thank you for taking out the time from your busy schedule, as I know you're teaching and you have your family and everything. But thank you again. It was so amazing to hear and learn so much more from you,
Thank
and
you.
I'm
Thank you
really
for having
happy.
me. It was the honor for me to be with you guys, you
Yes,
young, passionate, and motivated generation. I always wish you luck and success. You're on the right track. Just keep up the doing the good job, and I'm
yes,
sure in a short perspective you can position yourself at a very good as a very good consulting and training company offering such services to younger generation within the aviation field.
hopefully we aim to do. Yes, we aim to do that.
Good
Thank
luck.
you so much again. Thank you so much
No
again
worry.
for joining us.
Anytime.
So that's for today, guys. Thank you everyone who was watching us. We This season is ending. We have two more guests left, 2 more weeks, and then our first season will end. Next week, also, we are having one of my professors, uh, but he's from Turkey, so we'll meet him. And then the last week, we're having someone from sustainable aviation f- field. So the last 2 weeks are going to be amazing. So thank you again, Professor Sanaz. Thank you, Isaac, for letting me end today's show. And we will see you guys next week then on
Bye,
Tuesday.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.